the lost labyrinth of Egypt in the far reaches of ancient Egypt, beyond the familiar sands of the Nile and past the grand pyramids of Giza. There lies a tale as old as the pharaohs, themselves a tale of a labyrinth shrouded in mystery and myth known in whispers. And recorded by the ancient historian Herodotus, the labyrinth was said to be a grand structure, a marvel of engineering, with less passages and innumerable chambers, each more mystifying than the last. Its walls, he wrote, were adorned with inscriptions of unfathomable beauty and complexity. Columns reached up like the arms of giants, leading travelers into halls echoing with the secrets of a lost world. Yet, for all its glory, the labyrinth's true location remains elusive, buried somewhere in the sands of history. Centuries ago, during Egypt's golden age, there were rumors of underground complex that stretched for miles beneath the surface. This wasn't just a maze, it was a fortress of memory, a temple of wisdom, and a vault of power. Ancient records describe the labyrinth as a place where priests, scholars, and fashos came to converse with the gods, and the labyrinth was more than stone and mortar. It was a realm guarded by intricate traps, hidden mechanisms, and mysterious forces that protected its sacred knowledge from unworthy eyes. The labyrinth was said to be built by King Amun-Mahart, third of the 12th dynasty, a ruler obsessed with the mysteries of life and death, believing that the labyrinth was his ultimate legacy. Amenemhat commissioned the most skilled architects, artisans, and mathematicians from across his empire. It was designed not just as a monument to his reign, but as a passageway to the afterlife, a place where his spirit could transcend the boundaries of mortality. His court astrologers aligned the labyrinth with the stars, mapping its corridors to mirror the constellations above. They believed that anyone who dared enter would have to be worthy of understanding both the heavens and the earth as the story goes. Amhat's vision was realized in a complex that defied logic. The labyrinth sprawled over 2 levels, one above ground and one below, above ground. The structure was grand and intimidating, with towering columns and massive stone doors. But the true mystery lay below, where chambers were carved deep into the rock, interconnected by passageways that seemed to fold back on themselves. Some say there were doors that opened only on specific days of the year when the sun hit them at just the right angle, revealing hidden rooms that no one had entered for centuries. But over time, the location of the labyrinth faded from memory. Egypt fell under the rule of new dynasties, and foreign powers rose and fell. The labyrinth secrets were forgotten, buried under the sands. As the Nile shifted course and cities crumbled, explorers, archaeologists, and treasure hunters have combed the Egyptian deserts for centuries, desperate to uncover the labyrinth's resting place. Some claim to have found fragments, scattered stones, or inscriptions that hinted at its existence. Others believe the labyrinth was hidden by the gods themselves, concealed by forces beyond mortal comprehension. One particular story tells of a 19th century explorer named William Carter, who dedicated his life to finding the labyrinth, driven by Herodotus' accounts. Carter pored over ancient maps and manuscripts, scouring every scrap of information he could find. He even consulted local Bedouin tribes who spoke of a cursed place far to the west where strange lights flickered over the desert at night. But despite his fervor, Carter's search led only to dead ends one scorching summer. He ventured deeper into the desert than ever before. Days passed without word from him, and when his guides returned to the village, they came alone with tales of strange voices on the wind and visions of endless winding tunnels. They insisted that the labyrinth had swallowed Carter, taking him as payment for disturbing its sacred grounds. Then, in the early 20th century, a team of French archaeologists led by Professor Claude Milan claimed to have found a partial structure beneath the sands near Hawara, an ancient site believed to be near the labyrinth. As they excavated, they discovered walls that appeared to be part of an elaborate network of chambers and halls, intricately carved stones, and inscriptions hinted at something vast and hidden. But then, without warning, the project was abandoned. Marcellin returned to France, refusing to speak of his findings. His journals were filled with scribbles and half-legible entries describing strange occurrences, unexplained. Shadows, a faint humming that seemed to emanate from the walls, and dreams that haunted him long after he left Egypt. Some say he was cursed, that the labyrinth reached out across continents to silence him, preserving its secrets even in his mind. Generations have passed, yet the allure of the labyrinth remains undiminished. Scholars debate whether Herodotus' account was a mere exaggeration, an elaborate myth of something beyond our understanding and description. Archaeologists wonder if there might still be chambers beneath the sands waiting to be uncovered, yet some believe the labyrinth may exist in a dimension outside our own, a place that only reveals itself to those it deems worthy. Imagine, if you will, the labyrinth as it might have appeared in ancient times. As the sun set over the desert, the labyrinth's entrance glowed in the dying light, an invitation to the brave and the curious. The air would have been thick with incense, the sounds of chanting echoing from within as priests prepared for their nightly rituals. Inside, the walls were covered in carvings of gods and creatures, ancient hieroglyphs recounting histories and secrets. Torches lined the corridors, casting long, flickering shadows that seemed to dance and move with a life of their own. Some chambers were rumored to hold ancient relics, artifacts of power that could grant wisdom or curses to those who touched them. Then there were the traps meticulously designed to ensnare intruders. Legends say that the labyrinth was filled with doors that opened into pits of darkness, steps that led nowhere, and mechanisms that sealed behind trespasses, leaving them to wander the maze forever. Some chambers were filled with sand, held back by the most delicate of levers, ready to flood the space at the slightest misstep. And in the center of it all, there was said to be a room like no other, a grand hall where Amunat's spirit resided, his essence bound to the labyrinth, watching over his creation for all eternity, even today. Whispers of the labyrinth persist. Local tales speak of an eerie silence that falls over the desert near its supposed location, of strange sounds that carry on the wind. A group of modern explorers, equipped with cutting-edge technology, once attempted to find the labyrinth they used. Ground-penetrating radar drones and satellite images. Yet every time they thought they had found a lead, their equipment malfunctioned. Maps turned inaccurate, and the desert seemed to shift beneath their feet. Some returned, shaken, insisting that they had seen visions of corridors and chambers, while others refused to speak of their experience altogether. Perhaps the labyrinth doesn't want to be found. Perhaps it's a guardian of ancient knowledge, protecting secrets that humankind isn't ready to understand. Or maybe it's a reminder of our own limits, a lesson that some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved, lingering just beyond the edge of our understanding, as eternal and untouchable as the desert sands. And so the lost labyrinth of Egypt waits, It waits in the shifting sands, in the silent nights, in the ancient memories of those who have come before. It's a place of wonder and dread, a monument to a time when the world was full of mysteries, and the line between the mortal and the divine was thin, for now it remains hidden. A story passed down through generations, a haunting reminder that some paths should perhaps never be taken, and that some doors, once opened, may never close again. The enigma of the Shroud of Turin. There lies an ancient artifact, tattered, worn, and fragile, known as the Shroud of Turin, and worshipped by millions, holds an image that has sparked centuries of debate and speculation. Etched faintly into its fibers is the likeness of a man, his body marked by what seemed to be wounds, his face serene yet solemn to some. This is a powerful relic of the Christian faith, believed to be the burial shroud of Jesus Christ himself. For others, it is a puzzle, a haunting remnant from the past, bearing a message yet to be understood in a dimly lit chapel in Turin, Italy, where it is now stored. People from around the world gather in reverence, gazing at the faded image on the cloth. The shroud's material is old, made from linen, the kind used in ancient burial cloths, but its fabric isn't what draws people in. It is the faint outline of a man who appears to have suffered, his arms crossed peacefully over his body wounds, visible on his hands, feet, and side. The image has a ghostly quality, appearing almost photographic, as if captured by a process lost to time. Scientists, historians, and believers alike have struggled to understand how this image was made. One of the earliest accounts of the shroud comes from the 14th century, though some believe it existed long before that. The image's origins, however, are veiled in uncertainty. There are theories that place it in the hands of the Knights Templar, who may have safeguarded it after the Crusades. Other stories say it was kept in hidden shrines, passed down by secret societies, and guarded as a relic of unfathomable importance. And then there are those who claim the shroud appeared suddenly, as if from nowhere, a relic untouched by human hands, bearing an image created by forces beyond our comprehension. In the 1970s, a team of scientists from the Shroud of Turin research project, known as STURP, embarked on a meticulous examination of the cloth. They use advanced equipment to analyze every inch of it, scrutinizing fibers, studying stains, and documenting the image's unique characteristics. The faint sepia-toned image on the shroud puzzled them. It bore no brush strokes, no pigments that might have been painted on by a medieval artist. The scientists theorized that it was created by some unknown process, perhaps involving a burst of radiation or an unknown reaction within the cloth itself. Some argued that the image was scorched onto the linen, as if by a sudden, intense flash of light. Yet even after years of analysis, Saint's research yielded more questions than answers, leaving the true origin of the image a mystery as science wrestled with the mystery. Others turned to history for clues. Medieval records mention a cloth believed to bear the likeness of Christ's face. Some counts place it in Edessa, a city in ancient Mesopotamia, while others link it to Constantinople, where it was said to have been displayed in churches during holy festivals. And then there are stories that trace it to France, where it surfaced in the possession of a noble family, displayed in a small church in Lay. Was this the same cloth that became the Shroud of Turin? Or could it have been one of many relics created as testaments of faith during the Middle Ages? One of the most compelling aspects of the Shroud's mystery is its peculiar image. When viewed normally, the faint image is barely visible, but when viewed as a negative, every detail is brought into striking clarity, revealing a lifelike impression of a man whose wounds align with those described in the accounts of Christ's crucifixion. His hands show markings consistent with nails. His head bears traces of punctures that could indicate a crown of thorns, and his side shows what could be a wound from lance for believers. These signs are undeniable proof of the Shroud's sacred origin, a physical connection to the suffering of Christ. To skeptics, they are symbols skillfully crafted to inspire faith. In the 1980s, a sample of the Shroud was sent for carbon dating, a test that would become one of the most controversial in the history of archaeology. The results dated the cloth to the Middle Ages around 1260 to 1390, suggesting that it could not have been from the time of Christ. But these findings were met with immediate debate and resistance. Critics argued that the Shroud may have been contaminated by centuries of handling, exposure to fire, and attempts at preservation, all of which could have skewed the carbon dating. Some even suggested that the sample taken for testing was from a later repair, not the original cloth, a theory that remains hotly debated to this day. Beyond science and history, there is something intangible about the crow, something that speaks to the human soul. Artists, philosophers, and poets have been drawn to its mysterious aura, seeing in it a bridge between the earthly and the divine. For believers, the Shroud transcends its physical form. It is a relic that has survived wars, fires, and skepticism, a testament to enduring faith. Pilgrims come from around the world, some with hopes of healing, others seeking a moment of quiet reflection. In its presence, they whisper prayers, each person finding something different in its silent, haunting gaze. Then there are those who suggest the Shroud holds secrets we have yet to decipher. Some claim that hidden within its fibers are patterns that reveal codes or messages locked away for future generations. To unlock this theory has inspired cryptologists and scholars who have examined the Shroud's dimensions and markings, searching for mathematical relationships and hidden symbols. They argue that the Shroud was crafted with purpose, that each fold, each line, each imperfection carries meaning. Whether these theories hold any truth or are simply born of our desire to understand, to make sense of the unknown, remains unclear. The Shroud of Turin endures as one of history's great enigmas. It stands at the crossroads of faith, science, and mystery, defying the certainty of each while drawing strength from all. To some, it is a relic of profound importance, a tangible link to the divine. To others, it is a puzzle waiting to be solved, an invitation to explore the boundaries of knowledge. And perhaps in the end, the true meaning of the Shroud lies not in what we can prove, but in what we choose to believe. In the flickering candlelight of the tan cathedral, as the faithful kneel before it and scholars debate its secrets, the Shroud remains, as it always has, silent, steadfast, a witness to countless prayers, questions, and dreams. Its faded image tells no tales, yet it inspires stories in all who see it, stories of wonder, doubt, and the endless search for answers that lie just beyond the reach of human understanding. The timeless mystery of the great Sphinx of Giza beneath the burning sun of the Giza plateau. A silent guard, Ian, watches over the desert, its eyes fixed on the horizon as it has been for millennia. This is the great Sphinx, a creature of stone and mystery, carved from the bedrock of ancient Egypt. Its powerful lion's body is crowned with the face of a man, believed by many to represent a pharaoh, a god, or perhaps something even older, something beyond human understanding. The Sphinx's sheer size is staggering, at over 240 feet long and 66 feet high. It looms over the desert like a monument from another age, watching over the pyramids as if it were the key to a forgotten history. For centuries, the Sphinx has been a symbol of Egypt's grandeur, its age-old mysteries, drawing scholars, adventurers, and dreamers alike. But despite all that has been written, studied, and excavated, questions about the Sphinx endure. Chief among them is the mystery of its age-conventional wisdom, based on studies of the surrounding monuments, places its construction during the reign of Pharaoh Khafra around 2500 BCE. But some believe the Sphinx is far older than the pyramids. It guards its origins buried in a prehistoric past. The first hints of the Sphinx's mysterious age come from the erosion patterns on its body. In the 1990s, geologist Robert Schoch, an expert in weathering and erosion, studied the Sphinx and concluded that the weathering on its body and enclosure was consistent with prolonged exposure to heavy rain. But this theory raised a compelling question. The last time the Giza plateau saw significant rainfall was thousands of years before Reis' reign, suggesting that the Sphinx could date back to a time when Egypt was a lush green land. Could it be that the Sphinx was built in a forgotten age, an age that predates even the earliest known civilizations, adding to the mystery? There are no inscriptions on the Sphinx that confirm its age or original purpose. The Sphinx is unique among Egyptian monuments in its lack of a definitive identity, an enigma that has confounded scholars for centuries, if it was indeed built by Kra. Why does the Sphinx stand alone without the usual inscriptions that proclaim the power and legacy of the pharaoh ancient records? Mention no grand ceremony or construction project related to the Sphinx, as they do for the pyramids. It stands nameless and silent, leaving modern historians to wonder, was it built by another culture, another people whose memory has faded from history? Some ancient texts mention a figure known as the Watcher of the Horizon, a mysterious figure associated with the power to guard against chaos and protect the sacred land. These texts suggest the existence of a guardian deity who stood watch over Egypt's lands, a deity older than any pharaoh. Could the Sphinx be this ancient guardian, a relic of a time when gods walked the earth and humankind lived in awe of the forces of nature? The ancient Egyptians were known to repurpose older monuments, adopting them into their own spiritual landscape. It is possible that the Sphinx was once such a monument, absorbed into the Egyptian culture. But originating from an even older civilization, legends from ancient Egypt hinted secrets hidden beneath. The Sphinx Greek historian Herodotus wrote of a network of underground passages and chambers leading to rumors of a hall of records, a mythical archive set to contain the knowledge lost to time over the centuries. Explorers and mystics alike have searched for these hidden chambers, convinced that beneath the Sphinx lies a treasure of wisdom waiting to be rediscovered. In modern times, ground-penetrating radar has detected anomalies under the Sphinx's pays, suggesting the presence of voids or chambers. But despite numerous attempts, no excavations have revealed their contents, and the Egyptian authorities have guarded the Sphinx closely, wary of disturbing such a sacred site. Another enigma lies in the Sphinx's gaze, aligned precisely along the east-west axis. The Sphinx stares directly at the rising sun during the equinoxes. This alignment hints at an understanding of celestial cycles, suggesting that whoever built the Sphinx possessed advanced knowledge of astronomy. Some theorists propose that the Sphinx may have served as a marker for an ancient astronomical observatory, tracking the movements of the stars and guiding early civilizations in their agricultural and spiritual practices. It's possible that the Sphinx's alignment was meant to honor a specific constellation, perhaps the constellation Leo, which some believe mirrors the Sphinx's form. If this theory holds true, the Sphinx could be not just a monument, but a symbol of cosmic significance tied to the movements of the heavens. Then there is the question of the Sphinx's face. It has suffered from erosion and time, making it difficult to determine the identity of the figure it represents. Many believe it is a depiction of Pharaoh Khafre, the builder of the second pyramid at Giza, but others argue that the face doesn't match Khafre's likeness, noting that it has distinct features more reminiscent of an earlier dynasty or even a different culture altogether. Some experts have suggested that the Sphinx's face may have been carved and recarved over the centuries, its original features lost to history. Perhaps it was once the face of a god, a divine protector that watched over a forgotten kingdom as night falls over the Giza plateau. The Sphinx takes on an almost otherworldly quality under the stars. Its silhouette becomes a shadow from a time beyond memory, a silent reminder of a world long past. It has watched the rise and fall of empires, the passage of countless generations, each leaving behind only fragments of their story. The Sphinx has endured the ravages of time, the sands of the desert slowly wearing away its features, as if it too is returning to the earth, its secret slowly dissolving back into the land. Today, the great Sphinx of Giza stands as one of the last great mysteries of ancient Egypt. We may never know for certain who built it, when, or why. Yet the mystery itself has a purpose, sparking our curiosity, challenging our understanding of history, and inviting us to imagine a world far different from our own. It serves as a bridge between the known and the unknown, a reminder of the vastness of time and the fragility of human memory. Some believe that the Sphinx holds within it the story of an age when humanity's ancestors walked a path now forgotten, guided by forces we have yet to understand. Others see it as a testament to human ingenuity, a marvel of ancient craftsmanship that has withstood millennia, and perhaps the true answer lies somewhere in between, waiting to be discovered, or maybe it's a mystery the Sphinx itself guards, knowing that some secrets are meant to remain in the silence of the desert, hidden beneath layers of stone and time. The giants of Sardinia, on the rugged island of Sardinia, where the land meets the endless expanse of the Mediterranean Sea, sea legends whisper of a forgotten race, beings of extraordinary size and strength who once roamed the islands, hills and valleys. The Sardinians call them giganti, the giants, and their story has been passed down for generations, woven into the islands, folklore and culture. Some say the giants built massive stone structures known today as giants' tombs to honor their dead. Others believed they were protectors of ancient knowledge, guardians of secrets now lost to time. Yet despite the tales and a handful of archaeological finds, the truth about the giants of Sardinia remains elusive. The story begins with the giants, tombs themselves scattered across Sardinia. These enigmatic structures are some of the island's most mysterious monuments. Each tomb is an imposing work of stone, carefully arranged in elongated shapes and often topped with towering stones that loom over the surrounding landscape, Some of these stones stand as high as 13 feet, their surfaces etched with symbols that have yet to be fully understood. The tombs are like silent sentinels, enduring the passage of time and guarding the memories of those who came before. Local law insists that these were the burial places of giant creatures so large that the tombs had to be built to house their colossal bodies. Archaeologists who have studied these tombs describe them as megalithic structures built by the Nuragic civilization arrived on Sardinia thousands of years ago. The Nuragic people left behind stone towers, settlements, and structures that baffle modern researchers. But despite extensive excavations, no definitive evidence of giants has been uncovered. Skeletal remains found in these tombs are human in size. Yet the legends persist, fueled by reports of unusually large bones and strange artifacts said to have been discovered on the island and quietly whisked away. The tales of giants have deep roots in Sardinian folklore, stretching back to a time when memory and myth intertwined. According to legend, the giants were an ancient race that lived in harmony with the people of the island, helping them build massive stone structures and defending them from invaders. Some say the giants were wise and peaceful, using their great strength to move stones that no human could lift, shaping the land with a reverence for nature. Others tell darker stories of giants who became tyrants, demanding tribute and sacrifices from the island's inhabitants. These giants were said to have been defeated in a great battle. Their remains, inhumed in the mountains and valleys, hidden from prying eyes throughout Sardinia. There are sites that seem to hold echoes of these ancient stories. In the rugged countryside near the village of Aholi stands a towering Nuragic structure known as Sunar Axi. It's a fortress-like construction made of massive stones, some weighing several tons stacked to form walls that rise high into the air. Archaeologists believe Sunxai served as a central stronghold for the Nuragic people, but local legend claims it was once a gathering place for giants, where they would hold council and deliberate the fate of the island visitors. Tsunari often remark on the strange energy of the place, as if the stones themselves remember a time when beings of immense strength walked among them. And then there are the whispered stories of archaeological discoveries, tales of giant skeletons uncovered by farmers or excavators working the land. According to these accounts, oversized bones and skulls were found in remote parts of the island, only to be taken away by mysterious officials, leaving locals to wonder if the truth about the giants was being hidden. Some say that a skull was once found with eye sockets so large that a fist could fit inside, and that femur bones were unearthed, measuring nearly twice the length of an average human bone. These discoveries, however, remain unverified, fueling speculation and conspiracy theories about an ancient cover-up. Are these stories the result of overactive imaginations? Or is there something more to them, something that lies beyond our understanding? One of the most intriguing aspects of the legend is the unique connection between the giants' tombs and Sardinia landscape. The tombs are often aligned with celestial events, positioned to catch the light of the solstice, or arranged in patterns that mirror constellations. Some researchers suggest that these alignments indicate an advanced understanding of astronomy, a knowledge that may have been passed down from a civilization lost to history. In Sardinian mythology, it is said that the giants were descendants of the stars born from a union between the earth and the heavens. Their wisdom, the legends claim, was otherworldly, a gift from the cosmos that allowed them to build monuments that defy explanation. The island's oldest inhabitants, its shepherds and farmers, still speak of places where the giants are said to rest in remote valleys and hidden caves. There are sites considered sacred places that are believed to hold the remains of these ancient beings. Some locals refuse to venture near these spots, believing them to be cursed or guarded by spirits. There are stories of people who tried to disturb the tombs only to fall ill or meet with misfortune shortly after. Whether out of superstition or reverence, the people of Sardinia have long held a respect for these sites, treating them as remnants of a history that is both powerful and mysterious. Adding to the intrigue is the unique neuragic art, some of which features large figures with elongated limbs and heads towering over other human-like figures depicted alongside them. Were these figures meant to represent the giants, preserved in stone by the very people who lived among them, or were they symbolic representations of gods or spirits that the neuragic people worshipped? Scholars have debated this question for years, yet no definitive answer has emerged to the people of Sardinia. These figures are reminders of a time when the world was filled with wonders, when giants walked the earth, and the lines between myth and reality were thin today. Visitors to Sardinia can explore the giants' tombs and Nagic SES. Standing before stones that have weathered thousands of years, it's an eerie experience, knowing that these structures were built with a precision that suggests more than simple human effort. As you walk among the ancient stones, you can almost feel the presence of the builders, and perhaps, just perhaps, the giants themselves. The giants of Sardinia remain a mystery that straddles the realms of legend and archaeology. Theories about their existence vary widely, from beliefs in an ancient race of humans with extraordinary height and strength to ideas that these giants were not giants at all, but beings of spiritual or mystical power. Some speculate that the giants were an early species of hominids, a lost branch of humanity that left behind only faint traces of their existence. Others believe they were supernatural entities, guardians placed on Sardinia by forces beyond human understanding. Whether the giants ever truly existed or are simply the product of myth and imagination, their legend has become an indelible part of Sardinia's identity. The stories of giants serve as a bridge between the present and the past, connecting the island's modern inhabitants to a time when the world was larger, wilder, and filled with possibilities beyond our comprehension. They remind us that history is not always clear-cut, that some mysteries are meant to linger, keeping alive the thrill of wonder and the quest for knowledge. So as the sun sets over Sardinia's ancient stones, casting long shadows across the giants' tombs, the spirit of the giants endures, woven into the land itself. They are the silent watchers, the keepers of a history that may never be fully uncovered, and the inspiration for a legend that refuses to fade. The lost knowledge of the Piri map in the archives of Istanbul, preserved among centuries-old documents and treasures of the Ottoman Empire, lies a remarkable artifact, a map drawn on a delicate piece of gazelle skin parchment known as the Reis map. This map, created in 1513 by the Ottoman admiral and cartographer Reis, presents a view of the world that has puzzled scholars, historians, and cartographers for generations. It is a map of continents, coastlines, and lands both known and unknown. A map that seems to reach beyond its time and place with a strange and unexplained accuracy. At first glance, the Reis map appears much like other maps of the age. It outlines the coasts of Europe, North Africa, and parts of the Americas, with notes written in flowing Ottoman, Turkish, explaining various geographical features and the sources Reis used to compile the map. But as one studies the details, it becomes clear that this is no ordinary 16th century map. The level of precision with which it depicts the South American coastline, especially areas that European explorers had barely charted, defies the knowledge and technology of its time. Even more curious, the map suggests an understanding of regions far to the south, beyond the limits of known exploration, hinting at a world that would not be fully mapped for centuries. According to Reis himself, the map was drawn based on numerous sources. His notes indicate that he used charts from the men of the sea and ancient maps from explorers, long forgotten among his sources, he claimed, were maps that dated back to the time of Alexander the Great, suggesting that he was drawing from knowledge passed down through the ages. But what exactly were these sources, and how could they depict lands that were supposedly unknown to the people of the 16th century? One of the most intriguing aspects of the Reis map is its depiction of what appears to be the coast of Antarctica, a continent that was officially discovered and mapped only in the early 19th century. What's more, the coastline is shown without the thick ice sheet that now covers Antarctica, suggesting that it represents the continent as it might have appeared thousands of years ago before it was blanketed by ice. This observation has led some researchers to speculate that the map is based on an incredibly ancient source, one that predates known human history. But if this is true, how could such knowledge have survived? Was there a lost civilization with advanced seafaring abilities, one that mapped the world with an accuracy rivaling modern technology? Some theorists have suggested that the Reis map is evidence of a forgotten chapter of human history, an era when ancient seafarers charted the globe and recorded their knowledge in maps that have since been lost unknown to European explorers in 1513. How did Reis obtain this knowledge? And what about his claims of ancient sources, maps that dated back to the time of Alexander? Were these ancient maps simply inventions of his imagination, or did they truly exist, hidden away in forgotten libraries, waiting to be discovered? Adding to the intrigue is the fact that the Reis map is only a fragment of what was once a larger world map. The surviving piece shows only a portion of the Western Hemisphere, from Spain and North Africa to Brazil and the southern tip of South America. The missing sections may have depicted other parts of the world perhaps with similar detail and accuracy. What might they have revealed? Did they contain additional mysteries? Further insights into the geography of a world barely understood. At the time, the thought of what has been lost to history, maps, texts, and knowledge that we may never recover is enough to inspire endless speculation. Reis himself was a fascinating figure as an admiral of the Ottoman Empire. He was an accomplished navigator and cartographer, respected for his knowledge of the seas. His naval career took him across the Mediterranean and into the waters of the Indian Ocean, where he encountered sailors, merchants, and explorers from distant lands. It's possible that his travels and interactions with other seafarers exposed him to knowledge from cultures beyond Europe and the Ottoman Empire. Knowledge that had been passed down through generations. But even if he gathered information from a variety of sources, how could he account for regions of the world that but as far as we know, had not yet been explored. The map itself is a masterpiece of cartographic skill, a testament to Reis's expertise and ambition. Its lines and curves are drawn with precision, and its annotations reveal a careful attention to detail. The map features not only coastlines but also detailed descriptions of various regions, including notes on navigation trade routes and even peculiarities of local wildlife. It is more than a map. It is a record of the known world, and perhaps of a world that has been forgotten. In recent years, modern scholars and enthusiasts have continued to study the Reis map using technology to analyze its features in ways that Reis could never have imagined. Satellite imagery, digital mapping software, and geological surveys have all been applied to understand the map's unusual characteristics. Some researchers believe that the map aligns with actual geographical data in ways that are too accurate to be mere coincidence. Others, however, argue that the apparent accuracy is simply a result of artistic interpretation, that the shapes of coastlines and landmasses were drawn with a mixture of observation and imagination. Yet despite the advances in technology, the Reis map remains as mysterious as ever. Its origins, its sources, and the purpose behind its creation continue to inspire debate and fascination. Was it a genuine attempt to compile all known knowledge of the time, or was it something more? Did it serve a purpose? Beyond navigation, a relic of knowledge passed down from an ancient world? Or was it simply the work of a skilled admiral drawing on the best information available to him, blending fact and legend into a map that captured the spirit of exploration? As we look upon the Reis map today, we see more than a piece of parchment. We see a doorway to an age of mystery and discovery. An age when the world was still a place of wonder, filled with unknown lands and hidden truths. The map challenges our understanding of history, reminding us that the past is not always as straightforward as we imagine. It invites us to consider the possibility that there is still much we do not know, that the world may hold secrets that have yet to be revealed. In the dim light of the Istanbul archives, where the map rests among the relics of the past, the Reis map remains a silent witness to a world of exploration and mystery. Its lines and symbols tell a story, but one that is only partially understood, and perhaps that is the true magic of the Reis map, that it has kept its secrets, that it continues to inspire wonder and curiosity, drawing us into a world where the boundaries of knowledge are not yet fully defined and where the unknown beckons just beyond the edges of the map. The forgotten city of Madol in the remote reaches of the western Pacific, where the vast ocean stretches out in endless blue, lies the island of Pompeii, home to one of the world's most mysterious ancient cities known as Madol. This city is a marvel of human engineering and imagination, built on a series of 92 artificial islands separated by narrow canals, constructed from massive basalt stones that tower above the water's surface. Madol has fascinated and puzzled archaeologists, historians, and travelers for generations. The question that lingers over this ancient site is simple, yet profound. City built how and why in the heart of the ocean, seemingly isolated from the rest of the world. The story of Madol begins long before the arrival of written history, in a time when myths and legends provide aided explanations for the world's wonders. According to Pohnpeian oral tradition, Madol was created by two powerful sorcerer brothers, Olisa and Upa, who came to the island seeking a place to practice their magic. The legends say that the brothers used their supernatural powers to levitate massive stones, placing them carefully. To form the foundations of the city, the brothers wanted to create a place of spiritual power, a center for the island's religious and political life. And so, Nan Madol was born, a city of stone that seemed to float on the water, defying both logic and the natural forces of the world. Archaeologists have estimated that Nan Madol was built sometime between the 8th and 13th centuries, during a period when the Salar dynasty ruled over Pompeii. The city served as the ceremonial and political heart of the dynasty, its structures reserved for the elite and high priests who wielded both spiritual and temporal power. But how the people of Pompeii managed to construct such a vast city on a coral reef with no modern tools or machinery remains an enduring mystery. The basalt stones used in the construction of Nan Madol weigh several tons each, yet they were transported from distant parts of the island and carefully placed to form walls, temples, and tombs, even today with advanced technology building. Such a city would be a monumental feat. One theory suggests that the builders used a series of rafts and logs to move the stones across the water, an undertaking that would have required incredible organization and manpower. But Pohnpei's jungle-covered mountains make this theory difficult to prove. Others believe that the stones were moved by rolling them over coconut fiber mats, a method that would reduce friction and allow the stones to be maneuvered more easily. Despite these theories, no definitive evidence has been found to explain how the stones were transported and assembled. The locals, however, hold to the ancient legend that magic played a role, that the stones were indeed levitated by forces beyond human understanding. The purpose of Nan Madol is another puzzle. The city is made up of dozens of islets, each with its own specific function. Some were used as dwellings for the nobility, while others served as places of worship or burial grounds for high-ranking members of society. One of the most famous islets, Nandas, contains massive tombs believed to have the remains of ancient rulers. The design of Nan Madol is strikingly different from other ancient cities, with its grid-like arrangement of canals and its separation of each function onto a distinct island. Some archaeologists believe that the city's layout reflects a desire for order and control, a way for the ruling class to maintain authority over their subjects by creating a physical barrier between themselves and the rest of the population. Over time, however, the Sodor dynasty fell, and with it, Nan Madol was abandoned. The once thriving city became a ghost town, its temples and tombs left to the mercy of the encroaching jungle today. Vines and moss creep over the stone walls, and fish swim through the canals that once carried canoes of priests and warriors. The reason for Nan Mad's abandonment is as mysterious as its construction. Some say the Sodor rulers became corrupt and oppressive, alienating their subjects and causing the dynasty's collapse. Others suggest that environmental factors such as rising sea levels or dwindling resources forced the inhabitants to leave. Yet for all the theories, the exact cause remains unknown. Nan Madol has inspired countless tales of magic, ghosts, and curses. Local legends warn that the city is protected by spirits, and that anyone who disturbs its stones risks invoking their wrath. Some locals refuse to visit the site after dark, believing that the spirits of the ancient Selur rulers roam the ruins, guarding the secrets of their once great city. Visitors have reported feeling an eerie presence in the ruins, as if they were being watched by unseen eyes. The canals quiet, and still add to the haunting atmosphere, giving the impression that Nan Madol is alive, holding on to its memories and secrets beneath the calm surface of the water. In modern times, Nan Madol has drawn the attention of researchers, explorers, and even treasure hunters, each hoping to uncover the truth behind the ancient city. Excavations have revealed evidence of a sophisticated society, with trade connections to other islands in the Pacific. Pottery tools and even human remains have been found, providing clues about the people who lived there. But despite these discoveries, Nan Mad's full story remains elusive. Some believe that further exploration might reveal hidden chambers or artifacts that could shed light on the city's origins, but the dense jungle and the delicate coral and dangerous. Nan Mad's location, isolated from other major ancient civilizations, has fueled speculation about its purpose and origins. Some fringe theories propose that the city was part of a lost continent, perhaps connected to the legendary lands of Lamura, or Mu myth, icy islands said to have sunk beneath the Pacific. According to these theories, Nan Madol is a remnant of an ancient, highly advanced civilization that predates known history, a culture capable of architectural feats we can scarcely imagine. Today, though these ideas lack scientific evidence, they have captivated imaginations, adding to the aura of mystery that surrounds the city. For the people of Pompeii, Nan Madol is more than an archaeological site. It is a sacred place, a reminder of their ancestors, ingenuity, and a symbol of their cultural identity. The city stands as a testament to the achievements of a society that thrived in harmony with its environment, creating a unique city unlike any other in the world. Nan Madol stones hold the memory of a civilization that reached across the centuries, leaving behind not only physical structures, but also a story of ambition, mystery, and the human spirit's desire to reach beyond the ordinary. As the trade winds drift over the island, rustling the leaves of Pohnpei's thick jungle and sending ripples across the still canals, Nan Madol stands, as it always has, a relic of another age. The city endures mysterious and timeless, each stone a testament to a civilization both remarkable and unknowable. It beckons to those with a sense of wonder, inviting them to consider what may yet lie undiscovered, concealed beneath layers of history, myth, and the enduring silence of the sea. The Zuni language mystery nestled in the arid landscapes of New Mexico. The Zai people have preserved their customs, art, and spirituality for centuries, among the many treasures of Zuni culture. However, one element stands out as particularly enigmatic. Their language, the Zuni language called Shima, is unlike any other Native American language, bearing no clear connection to the languages spoken by neighboring tribes or by distant linguistic groups across North America. For decades, scholars and linguists have puzzled over the origins of this unique language, exploring theories that range from migrations across ancient land bridges to cultural exchanges that challenge traditional understandings of history. The Zai language is classified as a language isolate, meaning it shares no significant similarities with other languages in the surrounding area. Language isolates are rare and often indicate a unique linguistic evolution, sometimes shaped by geographical isolation or long-standing cultural independence. The uniqueness of Shima has led some researchers to suggest that the Zuni people may have lived in the region for thousands of years, developing a distinct language and cultural identity. Yet linguistic anomalies within Zuni raise further questions over time. Scholars have noticed a few peculiar linguistic elements, phrases, sounds, and structures that seem oddly familiar but don't quite fit within the framework of indigenous American languages. In the 1960s, a provocative theory emerged. The Zai language might share distant roots with Japanese. This theory, which remains highly speculative, arose when linguist Nancy D. Fry observed certain similarities between Shima and Japanese in both vocabulary and grammar. While these similarities were subtle, they were nonetheless striking. The theory speculates that perhaps an ancient connection exists between the Zuni and Japanese peoples, perhaps dating back thousands of years to a time when early humans migrated across continents or came into contact in unexpected ways. Both languages, for example, use a specific rhythm and certain vowel patterns that are rare in other language groups. Additionally, there are curious resemblances in particular words and phrases, as well as in cultural practices related to agriculture, water management, and ceremonial rituals. Could these parallels be mere coincidence? Or do they hint at a forgotten connection between two cultures separated by an ocean? Phase theory has inspired several researchers to explore this potential link, though it remains controversial and difficult to substantiate with current linguistic methodologies. The Zuni people, while open to research, maintain that their language and culture are deeply rooted in their ancestral lands and spirituality. Zuni traditions hold that their ancestors emerged from a sacred lake, a place that remains central to their worldview. This emergence myth is echoed in their language, which is imbued with references to nature spirits and the interconnectedness of all life. For the Zuni, their language is not merely a means of communication. It is an embodiment of their identity and connection to the land they inhabit. Because of this, the idea of distant cultural connections doesn't resonate as strongly within the community as a deeply personal gift handed down through generations. Linguists seeking to validate or refute the theory of a Japanese connection face significant challenges. Language evolves continuously, and over thousands of years, even closely related languages can diverge dramatically. Moreover, linguistic similarities can sometimes be coincidental, resulting from random similarities rather than shared origins. Some linguists argue that the similarities between Zuni and Japanese are likely the result of parallel evolution, similar solutions to the universal human need for communication developed in isolation. However, there are those who believe that ancient seafarers could have made contact between Asia and the Americas long before Columbus, creating fleeting but lasting exchanges that shaped both cultures. They argue that such contact might explain not only linguistic similarities, but also certain cultural practices that appear in both Zuni and Japanese traditions. For example, some researchers point to the importance of rituals involving water purification in both cultures, as well as shared agricultural methods and symbolic connections to nature. Could these practices have been inspired by an ancient cross-cultural exchange? For now, the Zuni language continues to captivate those who study it, whether as a possible relic of early trans-Pacific contact or simply as a beautiful, unique linguistic system that developed in isolation. The Zuni people's commitment to preserving their language and culture ensures that she remains vibrant, passed down through songs, stories, and rituals. With each new generation, the language survives as both a mystery and a testament to human diversity and resilience. Ultimately, the Zuni language mystery reminds us of how much remains unknown about humanity's past. It speaks to the power of language to connect and to separate, to create identity, and to leave traces of history that linger long after memory fades. Whether Shaima has distant cousins across the ocean, or is truly a language unto itself, it remains a fascinating piece of the linguistic puzzle, a reminder that every language carries within it a unique vision of the world. The question of its origins may one day be solved, or it may continue to spark debate, speculation, and curiosity, a silent link to a past we may never fully understand. The Great Serpent Mound in the rolling hills of southern Ohio lies a remarkable and puzzling earthwork known as the Great Serpent Mound. Stretching over 1,300 feet across the landscape, this ancient effigy winds in elegant curves, mimicking the sinuous body of a serpent. Its coiled form ends in a tightly spiraled tail, while the head opens as though to devour an oval-shaped feature, perhaps representing an egg, the sun, or something even more mysterious. The mound has stood here for at least a millennium, enduring the passage of time and inspiring countless theories about its purpose and the people who built it. Today, it remains one of the most enigmatic structures of prehistoric America, a silent monument to an ancient culture's vision of the world. The Great Serpent Mound has captured the imaginations of archaeologists, historians, and spiritual seekers for generations. Though many theories have been proposed, none can say for certain why the mound was built or what it meant to the people who constructed it. The prevailing theory attributes the mound's construction to the ancient culture who inhabited the Ohio River Valley around 1000 CE. However, artifacts found nearby suggest that an even older culture, the Adena people who lived in the area as early as 1000 BCE, may have laid its foundations. This overlap of cultures makes it challenging to determine exactly who first imagined the serpent into existence and what it may have symbolized for them. One theory suggests that the Great Serpent Mound is a celestial calendar, a structure designed to reflect the movements of the sun, moon, and stars. When viewed from above, the mound appears to align with certain solar events. Its head points toward the summer solstice sunset, while other curves correspond to the winter solstice and the equinoxes. Some research sages have argued that the winding body of the serpent may mirror the cycles of the moon or mark important astronomical events that govern the lives of its builders. Was the Great Serpent Mound a kind of prehistoric observatory guiding ancient people through the seasons and helping them predict the passage of time? Others propose that the serpent held religious or spiritual significance. Serpents are potent symbols in many Native American traditions, often representing fertility, renew, and the cycle of life and death. In some cultures, the snake is seen as a bridge between the earth and the sky, a creature that moves between realms and embodies the mysteries of transformation. The egg or oval shape at the serpent's head has sparked speculation that the mound represents creation itself, a symbol of the birth of life. The builders of the mound saw the serpent as a guardian, a protector of the land, or even a deity to be honored. The location of the Great Serpent Mound also adds to its mystery. The mound sits atop a geological anomaly, a large impact crater formed by a meteorite that struck the area millions of years ago. Some researchers wonder if the ancient builders were aware of this unique geological feature and chose the site deliberately, sensing a powerful energy emanating from the land itself. For those who believe the site holds spiritual significance, the impact crater beneath the M enhances its aura, suggesting that the ancient people may have viewed it as a sacred place, one where cosmic forces and earthly life converged, adding yet another layer to the mystery. Recent discoveries have revealed that the soil and rocks surrounding the mound have unique magnetic properties, which could have been perceived by ancient people as a sign of the site's supernatural importance. Could these magnetic anomalies have influenced the choice to build here? The idea that the mound is aligned with both earthly and celestial forces fascinates those who study it, and it leaves us wondering what the ancient cultures might have sensed that modern science is only beginning to understand. Despite extensive research, much about the Great Serpent Mound remains unknown. Archaeologists have found few artifacts within the structure, making it difficult to reconstruct the lives of its builders or the purpose of the mound itself. Without written records, the meanings embedded in its design remain a matter of interpretation, a puzzle composed of symbols and stones rather than words. Some believe that the Serpent Mound may have been part of a larger spiritual complex, a pilgrimage site where people gathered to observe rituals, honor ancestors, and connect with the divine. Others suggest that it was a burial site, though excavations have not revealed any clear evidence of interment within the mound itself. The Great Serpent Mound continues to inspire those who visit its ancient curves, drawing them into a landscape that feels timeless and otherworldly. Standing on the mound's coils, one might imagine the ancient ceremonies that could have taken place here. Gatherings where the builders danced, chanted, and honored their deities under the light of the stars. Today, visitors from around the world walk its path in silence, seeking to understand the vision that inspired its creation. The mound invites each person to interpret it in their own way, becoming a bridge between past and present mystery and meaning. For many Native American communities, the Great Serpent Mound is a symbol of resilience and continuity, a reminder of their ancestors' connection to the land and the cosmos. While modern science seeks to decode its mysteries, the indigenous people who trace their heritage to this region often view the mound not as an enigma to be solved, but as a sacred site that honors the cycles of nature and the spirit of life. To them, the mound is a reminder that some truths are felt rather than understood, that mystery itself can be a powerful way to connect with the world as the shadows grow long over the Ohio hills. The Great Serpent Mound rests as it always has, coiled and watchful, its form etched into the earth. It offers no explanations, only an invitation to wonder, to reflect, and to respect the ingenuity and spirituality of those who built it. With each passing year, the mound remains both ancient and ageless, a symbol of human curiosity, reverence, and our enduring desire to understand the mysteries that connect us to the universe. The mystery of the Madagascar man-eating tree in the shadowy heart of Madagascar's dense forests, where the landscape teems with life, both beautiful and strange. Whispers of a peculiar legend have persisted for well over a century. According to tales that began circulating in the late 19th century, there exists, or once existed, an extraordinary and terrifying tree, one that defies the boundaries of known botany. This is the so-called man-eating tree, a plant rumored to ensnare and devour human beings with monstrous tendrils and deadly intent. Despite numerous explorations and studies of Madagascar's lush, isolated forest, no definitive proof of this carnivorous tree has ever been found. Yet, the story lives on a chilling mystery that blurs the line between science and folklore. The first recorded mention of the man-eating tree appeared in 1874 in a lurid and unsettling account by German explorer Karl Lecher. According to Lear, he encountered the tree while traveling with an indigenous tribe in a remote area of Madagascar, Assar. In his description, the tree was a ghastly sight, a towering plant with long tendril-like branches that moved as if alive, stretching toward anything that came close. The tree, Leia claimed, was surrounded by a clearing, as if even the other plants kept their distance when a human or any living creature drew near. The tree would lash out around its prey and dragging it toward the trunk, where it would be consumed in a gruesome manner. Lech's account goes further, describing a horrific ritual in which members of the tribe offered a sacrifice to the tree, pushing a woman toward its reaching branches. As the story goes, the tendrils wrapped around her, squeezing until she was immobilized, while the tree, more like a trunk, opened and absorbed its victim, leaving nothing but silence and an empty clearing. This account, published in European newspapers, caused an immediate sensation. Readers were horrified and captivated by the idea of a carnivorous tree capable of consuming humans, a plant that by all rights should not exist in the natural world, despite the popularity of Lech's story. Skepticism soon followed. No other explorers in Madagascar reported seeing such a tree, and as the years passed, botanists and scientists came to view the tale as nothing more than a fabrication, a sensation story designed to thrill and shock still. The story refused to fade entirely. The unique and often bizarre flora and fauna of Madagascar, a place home to lemur, giant chameleons, and the spiny desert plant known as the octopus tree, kept the Tale alive. If Madagascar could produce plants that looked like creatures from another world, who could say with absolute certainty that the man-eating tree was nothing more than a myth? Over the decades, new versions of the story emerged, with explorers and adventurers claiming to have seen similar trees in various parts of Africa, South America, and the South Pacific. Each version added new details describing trees that bled, a red sap resembling blood, or trees with leaves that moved of their own accord, yet no credible evidence ever surfaced. The elusive nature of the man-eating tree only deepened the mystery, leading some to speculate that the tree might be a rare, hidden species, one that appears only in the most remote parts of the forest, where few humans ever venture. Modern botanists dismiss the idea of a true man-eating tree, explaining that such a plant would defy everything known about the behavior of plants. Carnivorous plants do exist. Of course, the Venus flytrap, sundew, and pitcher plants have evolved unique mechanisms to trap and consume insects, gaining nutrients from their prey and nutrient-poor environments. But these plants are small and limited in their predation. They capture insects and small creatures, not humans. A tree capable of capturing and digesting something as large as a person would require an evolutionary leap, one that defies the principles of plant biology to support such an adaptation. The plant would need an enormous amount of energy and a digestive system, unlike any plant known to science. Yet, despite scientific explanations, the man-eating tree continues to captivate those who hear its story. Some researchers argue that the legend may have arisen from cultural misunderstandings, perhaps inspired by exaggerated descriptions of large spiny plants or unusual carnivorous species like the Nepenthes, a large peter plant native to Madagascar and parts of Southeast Asia. This plant while certainly not capable of devouring humans, does occasionally trap small animals, including frogs, birds, and even small mammals. Perhaps, some say, early explorers or tribal myths embellish these encounters, transforming them into a tale of a monstrous tree. There are those, however, who believe there may be more to the story. Madagascar is known for its astonishing biodiversity and its high rate of endemic species, plants, and animals found nowhere else on Earth. Some botanists and explorers speculate that there could indeed be unknown plant species within Madagascar's dense forests, hidden from modern science and waiting to be discovered. If a plant with unusual carnivorous properties exists, it could potentially thrive in the remote, often inaccessible jungles of the island, its existence shielded by the dense and rugged landscape as one walks through Madagascar's lush forests, filled with strange sounds and towering plants. It's easy to see how stories like the man-eating tree might take root in the imagination. The forest feels alive with vines and branches that seem to stretch out like hands leaves that rustle without wind, and trees that twist into shapes reminiscent of creatures from another world. The landscape alone evokes a sense of mystery, a feeling that there are things within these forests that remain beyond human understanding. Whether the man-eating tree is one of these mysteries or simply a tale spun to captivate the curious is a question that may never be answered. The man-eating tree of Madagascar endures as one of the world's strangest botanical legends. It remains unverified, a story that defies the constraints of reality, yet continues to inspire a sense of wonder and fear. Perhaps it serves as a reminder of the untamed power of nature, of the possibility that there are still forces and forms of life in the world that remain unknown, a story one that grew from the fertile ground of human imagination, fed by the wild beauty and otherworldly allure of Madagascar's forests. In the end, the man-eating tree remains hidden, whether in the depths of the forest or the depths of our collective fascination with the strange and the unknown. It stands as both a cautionary tale and an invitation to explore the world's mysteries, urging us to consider what might still lie undiscovered, waiting in the shadows of the wild. The mystery of the sea peoples in the tumultuous years around 1200 BCE civilizations across the eastern Mediterranean were struck by a series of devastating assaults. The Hittite Empire crumbled, powerful cities were reduced to ashes, and Egypt itself faced an onslaught that nearly brought its ancient empire to its knees. This wave of destruction was carried out by a confederation of enigmatic warriors, remembered in Egyptian records simply as the Sea Peoples. Who were these raiders? Where did they come from? And what drove them to launch such relentless attacks across the known world? Despite centuries of study, the origins, motives, and ultimate fate of the Sea Peoples remain a mystery, a puzzle locked in the ruins and records of the Bronze Age. The Sea Peoples entered history through the writings of the Egyptians, who recorded their arrival with a mix of horror and awe. The records describe fleets of ships arriving from the sea, carrying warriors, unlike any the Egyptians had encountered in scenes depicted on temple walls and inscribed in hieroglyphs. These warriors are shown in distinctive dress, wielding strange weapons and wearing horned or feathered helmets. They fought with a ferocity that caught Egypt unprepared, sweeping through its coastal territories and pressing deep into the heart of the kingdom. One of the most famous records of the Sea People's invasions comes from the reign of Pharaoh Reis, III, who ruled Egypt around 1180 BC. Rameses recorded a massive assault by the Sea Peoples who attacked by both land and sea, overwhelming Egyptian defenses and ravaging villages. According to the inscriptions, Reis eventually managed to defeat the invaders in a fierce battle at the mouth of the Nile, forcing the Sea Peoples to retreat. Yet even in victory, Rameses seemed to acknowledge the sheer scale of the threat, noting that Egypt's survival had hung by a thread. They came like the sea, he wrote, describing an enemy that seemed to rise from the depths, unpredictable and unstoppable. The Sea Peoples did not leave any written records of their own and their language culture, and homeland remained unknown. Scholars have proposed numerous theories about their origins. Some suggest that they came from the Aegean, perhaps displaced populations from Greece or the islands of Crete and Cyprus. Others argue that they hailed from Anatolia, fleeing natural disasters, famine, or social collapse. A few even speculate that they were mercenaries, united by necessity, rather than kinship, a coalition of desperate tribes seeking new lands and resources without direct evidence. However, each theory remains speculative, an educated guess shaped by fragments of pottery hints in ancient texts and the scars of destruction left on once thriving city. The arrival of the Sea Peoples marked more than just a wave of raids. It triggered the collapse of an entire era across the eastern Mediterranean kingdoms. Fell trade routes were disrupted and knowledge was lost. The Hittites, once a dominant empire, vanished almost entirely, their cities left in ruin. The Manian civilization in Greece, famed for its palaces and warrior kings, were similarly devastated, its grand structures reduced to rubble. Ugarit, a thriving city-state on the coast of modern-day Syria, was obliterated, its libraries burned and its people scattered. Scholars refer to this as the Late Bronze Age collapse, a period of sudden violent upheaval that reshaped the ancient world. The Sea Peoples were not the only factor in this collapse, but their attacks intensified the chaos, hastening the decline of established empires. Archaeological evidence paints a picture of this destruction, with layers of ash and debris marking the places where cities once stood. In some sites, skeletons have been found among the ruins, a haunting reminder of lives cut short by invasion and conflict. Yet for all the evidence of their attacks, there is little to indicate what happened to the Sea Peoples after their last recorded clash with Egypt. Some historians believe they may have settled in the regions they once raided, merging with local populations and eventually fading into history. Others suggest that they returned to the sea, continuing their elusive existence as nomads, traders, or pirates, moving on to other shores as their presence in the Mediterranean waned. Theories abound about why the Sea Peoples took to raiding with such intensity. Some suggest that they were driven by environmental changes, droughts, earthquakes, or crop failures that rendered their homelands uninhabitable, abandoned their lands. Then the invasions may have been motivated by sheer desperation, an effort to find new territories capable of sustaining them. Others believe that social or political changes, perhaps the breakdown of traditional power structures, led them to seek fortunes abroad, striking at wealthy civilizations in search of plunder or a new home. The Sea Peoples may have been fleeing conflict or oppression, or they may have been warriors seeking conquest and adventure. Inspired by tales of distant lands ripe for the taking, one group often associated with the Sea Peoples are the Philistines, known from biblical texts as one of the ancient Israelites, most formidable adversaries. Some scholars suggest that the Philistines may have been descendants of the Sea Peoples settling in the Levant and establishing a distinct culture. Evidence from excavations in Philistine cities shows a mixture of Minoan and Canaanite influences, hinting at a blending of cultures that could reflect the integration of sea peoples with local societies. If the Philistines were indeed part of the sea people, then fragments of their legacy might still be visible in the art, architecture, and religious practices of the region. For modern historians, the sea peoples represent one of the ancient world's most enduring mysteries. They stand as a reminder of how easily history can slip through our fingers, how empires can rise and fall, leaving only hints of their existence in fractured records and silent ruins. The sea peoples left no tombs, no monuments, humans, no definitive trace of their own story. They came, they conquered, and they vanished, leaving behind questions that echo across the ages, standing amid the ruins they left behind, at the fallen walls of Ugarit, the deserted halls of Mene, or the temples of ancient Egypt. One can almost sense their presence, a ghostly reminder of a force that once swept across the Mediterranean, shaking the foundations of the ancient world. The sea people remind us of the fragility of civilizations, of the unknown forces that shape history, and of the mysteries that remain unsolved no matter how deeply we dig. And so the sea peoples endure as both a historical enigma and a symbol of upheaval, a chapter of ancient history that remains open to speculation. We may never know who they truly were, but their story invites us to look back with curiosity and humility, to consider how little we may know about the forces that drive human migration, conflict, and survival. The sea peoples are gone, but their impact lingers, a wave that rippled through history and left a lasting mark on the world they invaded. In the end, they remain a reminder that sometimes history is a mystery, not meant to be fully understood, but rather respected for its depth, complexity, and the untold stories that still lie hidden within it. The tunnels of Teotihuacan, beneath the sprawling ruins of Teotihuacan, an ancient city that once rivaled the great capitals of the world, lies a hidden world that archaeologists are only beginning to explore. This network of tunnels running beneath the Pyramid of the Sun, the Pyramid of the Moon, and the Temple of the Feathered Serpent contains secrets that the people of Teotihuacan buried thousands of years ago. Though much of the city's history is shrouded in mystery, these subterranean passages offer a tantalizing glimpse into the beliefs and rituals of its long-lost inhabitants. Teotihuacan, located just northeast of present-day Mexico City, was a thriving metropolis as early as 100 BCE. At its peak, it was one of the largest cities in the ancient world, home to an estimated 125,000 people. The civilization that built Teotihuacan left no written records, and its original name is unknown. Much of what we know comes from archaeological discoveries and the towering pyramids that define the city's skyline. However, the recent discovery of tunnels beneath these pyramids has added new layers of complexity to Teotihuacan's story, raising questions about the purposes and meanings behind these underground constructions. One of the most startling finds in these tunnels came during an excavation at the Temple of the Feathered Serpent, where archaeologists uncovered a glittering substance, liquid mercury, pooling along the tunnel floors in ancient Mesoamerica. Liquid mercury was an extremely rare and dangerous material, requiring skill and knowledge to extract and manipulate the presence of mercury. Deep within the tunnel, suggests that it held significant meaning to the people of Teotihuacan, perhaps even serving as a symbolic or ritualistic element in their spiritual practices. Some researchers believe that the shimmering metal was intended to represent a river or lake, a conduit to the underworld or the divine. In addition to mercury, archaeologists discovered an array of unusual artifacts in the tunnels. Jade carvings, ceramic vessels, obsidian blades, and intricate stone masks were found carefully placed along the underground corridors. Many of these items were arranged as if they were offering for the gods or for the spirits of the ancestors. The presence of these artifacts hints that the tunnels may have been used for ceremonial purposes, perhaps serving as a place where high priests or rulers conducted rituals meant to communicate with other realms. Yet the full meaning behind these objects remains unclear. Were they meant to honor the dead, to invoke supernatural protection, or to serve as offerings to appease the gods? The layout of the tunnels themselves offers further clues. Though it raises as many questions as it answers, some sections appear to be intentionally aligned with astronomical events, particularly with the cycles of the sun and moon. It's possible that the tunnels were part of a larger cosmological plan designed to mirror the heavens below the earth. The people of Teotihuacan had a sophisticated understanding of astronomy, as evidenced by the alignment of their pyramids and temples. The idea that the tunnels represent a symbolic journey through the cosmos, or perhaps an underground pathway to an afterlife, has captivated researchers, but without written records, this interpretation remains speculative. Adding to the intrigue is the discovery of small, mysterious spheres scattered throughout the tunnels. These orbs, ranging from the size of a marble to several inches in diameter, are made from clay and coated in a bright pyite shell, giving them a golden sheen. Their purpose is unknown, though some archaeologists suggest they might have served as part of a ritual involving light and reflection, symbolizing stars or celestial bodies in an underground sky. To those who built Teotihuacan, these spheres may have represented a connection to the divine, a way to bring the heavens into the depths of the earth. The discovery of these tunnels has prompted many questions about the relationship between Tian's rulers and the people who live there. It's clear that the city's elite went to great length to build these underground chambers, investing resources and labor into a project that served purposes we may never fully understand. Some scholars argue that the tunnels were reserved for the ruling class, a hidden space where only priests or the most powerful figures could enter, far from the eyes of the common people. Others believed that the tunnels were meant to be a sacred space, accessible to all, a place where the people of Teotihuacan could come to connect with the divine and seek blessings or protection. For the modern visitors who walk through the ancient city above the tunnels below, add a new dimension to the mystery of Teotihuacan. Why would a society go to such lengths to create this hidden realm? What drove them to seek out liquid mercury, a material so dangerous yet so captivating, and place it within their sacred underground world? And what do these tunnels tell us about the civilization that once called Teotihuacan home? A people who built grand pyramids, who studied the stars, and who left behind structures that inspire awe. Thousands of years later, Teotihuacan remains a place of fascination and reverence, its silent stones bearing witness to an ancient society that rose to great heights, and then, for reasons unknown, faded away. The tunnels beneath its temples are like a buried memory, holding on to fragments of a story that is still unfolding. As archaeologists continue their work, they uncover new clues, small objects, inscriptions, and traces of ritual that deepen our understanding of this lost world. Yet the full purpose of the tunnels remains a mystery, an echo from a civilization that understood both the power of the earth and the allure of the stars. The tunnels of Turin remind us of how much remains hidden beneath the surface of history. They are a testament to the creativity, ambition, and spiritual depth of the people who built them. A silent reminder that some mysteries may never be fully solved. Perhaps the tunnels were meant to serve as a bridge between worlds, between the living and the dead, between humanity and the gods, between the known and the unknown, and perhaps, like the tunnels themselves, the answers lie just beyond our reach. Waiting in the quiet darkness, a secret kept by the earth and the stones, the Valley of the Golden Mummies, in the arid sands of Egypt's Bahariya oasis. A surprising discovery lay hidden beneath the surface, waiting for millennia to be uncovered, known as the Valley of the Golden Mummies. This vast necropolis has revealed hundreds of ancient mummies adorned in glittering gold, each meticulously wrapped and buried in a burial site of extraordinary scale found in 1996 by Egyptian archaeologist Zahi Hawass. The discovery ignited excitement and fascination around the world. Who were these mummified individuals? Why were so many laid to rest in one place? And what drove the creation of this immense burial ground in the midst of the desert? The mummies found in the Bahariya oasis date back to the Greco-Roman period between the 1st and 4th centuries. See time, Roman Empire, when Egypt was a part. Many of these mummies were beautifully preserved, covered with ornate masks and golden breastplates that reflected their high status in society. Some were gilded with gold leaf, while others were adorned with intricate portraits painted directly onto their linen wrappings, capturing the facial features of the deceased in astonishing detail. The golden decorations earned the site its evocative name and suggested that the individuals buried here held a special significance even in death. The scale of the necropolis is staggering. Excavations have revealed over 250 mummies, but archaeologists estimate that there may be as many as 10,000 still buried in the valley. This sheer number of mummies in a single location has led to numerous questions about the site's purpose and the social structures of the people buried. There was this, a burial ground exclusively for the elite, reserved for the wealthiest citizens of Bahariya? Or did it also serve as a communal resting place for a broader segment of society? The presence of both richly decorated and simpler mummies suggests a mix of social statuses, hinting that this necropolis may have served an entire community bound together in death as they were in life. The mystery deepens when considering the historical context of this burial site. The Greco-Roman period in Egypt was marked by a blend of Egyptian and foreign customs, as well as changes in religious practices and burial traditions. The mummies in the Valley of the Golden Mummies show evidence of both Egyptian and Roman influences, combining traditional mummification techniques with Greco-Roman art styles. Golden masks and painted portraits give the deceased the stylized appearance of Roman citizens. Yet, the preservation of their bodies reflects the Egyptian belief in the afterlife. This fusion of cultures is unusual, suggesting that the people of Bahariya may have maintained a distinct identity even as they adopted new customs and symbols from the Roman world. One of the most puzzling ECTs of the Valley of the Golden Mummies is the reason behind its creation. The oasis is a remote and challenging place to access even today. So why would such a massive burial site be constructed? Here, some scholars believe that Bahariya, once a fertile region, may have served as an important center for trade and agriculture during the Greco-Roman period. Drawing wealth and influence to the area, others suggest that the valley held a particular spiritual significance, making it an attractive location for a necropolis dedicated to honoring and preserving the dead. It's possible that the oasis was seen as a gateway between the worlds of the living and the dead, a sacred place where individuals could prepare for the journey to the afterlife. Adding to the intrigue are the burial goods found with the mummies, including jewelry, amulets, and small statues. Many of these items were crafted with care, incorporating both Egyptian symbols of protection and Roman designs, a testament to the multicultural influences at play in the oasis. The amulets inscribed with protective spells were likely intended to safeguard the deceased on their journey into the afterlife. Some mummies were even buried with coins placed over their mouths or eyes, a Roman tradition meant to pay Charon, the mythical fairman who carried souls across the river to the underworld. The blend of these pharaoh customs paints a picture of a society in transition, one that respected its heritage while also embracing the symbols and rituals of the larger empire. The Valley of the Golden Mummies also raises questions about the broader society of the oasis. Who were the people of Bahariya? Were they an isolated community, or did they have strong connections to other parts of Egypt and the Mediterranean world? Archaeologists have found inscriptions and records that suggest Bahariya was a prosperous and bustling region. During this time, known for its wine production dates and agricultural output, the local economy may have enabled families to afford elaborate burials, explaining the presence of so many richly decorated mummies. But the reasons for choosing this specific site and the factors that contributed to the necropolis is enormous. Scale remain unknown. For archaeologists, the Valley of the Golden Mummies represents both a treasure trove of artifacts and an ongoing mystery. Each new excavation uncovers additional layers of history, yet many questions remain unanswered. How many more mummies lie beneath the sand? Were they all members of the same extended community, or did the necropolis serve a broader purpose, perhaps as a burial site for people from across Egypt? And what caused the valley to be abandoned, leaving thousands of mummies inhumed and untouched for centuries? Today, the Valley of the Golden Mummies stands as a reminder of Egypt's multicultural past and the complexities of life and death during the Greco-Roman era. For modern visitors, the site evokes and reverence a testament to the length to which their place in the afterlife. The golden masks and portraits seem to gaze back across the centuries, preserving faces that were once part of a thriving community. They offer glimpses into a forgotten world where the dead were honored with beauty and ceremony, carefully prepared for a journey that transcended both culture and time. The Valley of the Golden Mummies remains a mystery, a place where the sands of history have preserved the traces of lives that came before. It reminds us of the human desire to be remembered, to leave a mark that endures beyond death. In the oasis beneath layers of sand and history, the golden mummies wait, keeping the secrets of their lives and their world. Their gilded faces, a silent testament to the mysteries that still lie beneath Egypt's sands. The mystery of the Saqqara bird among the countless artifacts discovered in Egypt's ancient tombs, there exists a curious object that has stirred debate and fascination across the world, known as the Saqqara bird. This small wooden carving was unearthed in 1898 within a tomb at the vast necropolis of Saqqara. At first glance, the artifact resembles a bird with outstretched wings and a streamlined form, yet upon closer inspection, certain details set it apart from other traditional bird carvings. Its design includes features that seem oddly modern, reminiscent of an aircraft's fuselage and wings. Could the ancient Egyptians have held some understanding of flight preserved in this wooden model? Or is the Saqqara bird simply a unique depiction of an oven form carved without any intention? Beyond decoration or symbolism, the Saqqara bird measures around 7 in long, carved with a remarkable attention to balance and symmetry. The wings are flat, with a straight, rigid form, unlike the more curved wings typically seen in bird sculptures from ancient Egypt. The tail is wide and flat-shaped, more like a stabilizing rudder than the tapered tail one might expect on a bird. Its body is streamlined with a shape that minimizes air resistance, a design that some argue resembles early models of gliders or even modern aircraft. This combination of features has led some researchers to speculate that the Saqqara bird is more than it seems a possible relic of a forgotten knowledge about the principles of flight. Those who believe in the Saqqara bird's potential connection to flight often point to the bird's design as evidence of intentional engineering. According to this theory, the ancient Egyptians might have experimented with aerodynamics or observed certain natural phenomena that informed their design. This idea suggests that the Saqqara bird was either a model for an early glider or a ceremonial object symbolizing flight, perhaps used in rituals to help the soul ascend to the afterlife. Supporters of this theory have even conducted flight tests with replicas of the Saqqara bird, finding that with slight modifications to the tail, it can achieve a stable gliding motion. These tests have only fueled the mystery, encouraging a perspective that ancient Egypt may have explored basic principles of aerodynamics long before modern science. Critics, however, argue that the Saqqara bird is exactly what it appears to be, a stylized carving of a bird created by a skilled artisan with no intention of representing flight beyond the spiritual or symbolic. Ancient Egypt was rich with symbols of birds and wings, often associated with the soul, freedom, and the journey to the afterlife. The wings of the Saqqara bird could easily be a representation of this concept, rather than an attempt to model a functional flying device. The flat tail, they argue, might be artistic, a stylized choice, rather than an engineered feature. In this view, the Saqqara bird is simply an expression of the ancient Egyptians' reverence for nature and the belief in the bird as a vessel for the soul's journey. Adding to the debate is the mystery of why this object was placed within a tomb. The ancient Egyptians often placed items in tombs to provide for the deceased in the afterlife, and birds were commonly associated with the bay, one of the elements of the soul in Egyptian cosmology, which was believed to be capable of leaving the tomb and traveling freely. Perhaps the Saqqara bird was created as a symbol of this spiritual freedom, embodying the soul's journey through the heavens. Alternatively, some theorists suggest it might have held a more practical purpose, serving as a child's toy or a simple decorative piece rather than an advanced design or spiritual relic. Despite the skepticism, the Saqqara bird has sparked imaginations and inspired various hypotheses over the years. Some researchers have suggested that the bird is part of a broader pattern of advanced knowledge in ancient Egypt, pointing to other puzzling artifacts and achievements, like the precision of the Great Pyramid's construction or the astronomical alignment of Egyptian temples for those who support the theory of forgotten technologies. The Saqqara bird is a piece of evidence to fully understand an artifact that challenges our assumptions about the scope of ancient innovation. Yet, without further evidence, the true purpose of the Saqqara bird remains a matter of speculation. There is no definitive proof that the ancient Egyptians pursued flight in any technological sense. While the Saqqara bird may share some characteristics with modern aerodynamics, it could also be a coincidence, an example of nature-inspired design, rather than a blueprint for aviation. Theories about the bird's connection to flight are ultimately based on interpretations and reconstructions, not on direct historical records or descriptions from the time. As it stands, the Saqqara bird embodies the mystery of ancient Egypt itself, a civilization that achieved remarkable feats in art, architecture, and science, but left behind questions that may never be fully answered. It is a symbol of both our fascination with the past and our tendency to see ourselves reflected in history, searching for connections that bridge ancient and modern worlds. Whether the Saqqara bird represents an early understanding of aerodynamics or simply a unique bird carving, its form continues to inspire wonder, inviting us to look deeper into the possibilities of the past. In the quiet halls of the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, where the Saqqara bird rests among other relics of a bygone world, it stands as a silent reminder of the mysteries left by those who came before us. The bird's wings remain open, as if ready to take flight, carrying with it the enduring questions about human ingenuity and the uncharted depths of history. The painted caves of Altamira, hidden in the hills of northern Spain, in a quiet region shaded by forests, lies one of humanity's oldest and most remarkable artistic achievements. The Altamira caves, discovered in the late 19th century, the cave walls are adorned with breathtaking images of bison, deer, and horses, painted in rich reds, blacks, and ochres by unknown hands more than 15,000 years ago. These Paleolithic masterpieces have captivated the world since their discovery, offering a glimpse into a distant time when early humans expressed their lives and beliefs on stone canvases. Yet the purpose behind these paintings, as well as the advanced techniques used to create them, remains an enduring mystery that stirs the imagination of archaeologists, artists, and historians alike. The paintings in Altamira are renowned for their realism and complexity, displaying a level of skill and understanding that seems almost modern. The bison in particular are depicted in dynamic naturalistic poses, with shading and depth that bring the animals to life on the uneven surfaces of the cave walls. The artists use the natural contours of the rock to give the animals a sense of movement and volume, creating a three-dimensional effect that is astonishing. To behold, this technique, known as relief shading, is highly sophisticated, demonstrating an understanding of perspective and form that many did not believe early humans possessed. How could Paleolithic artists, with primitive tools and limited light, have achieved such an advanced level of artistry? The materials used in the Altamira paintings add to the mystery. The pigments were derived from minerals such as hematite, charcoal, and ochre, carefully ground and mixed to achieve a variety of shades and textures. Some of the colors have retained their vividness for thousands of years, a testament to the skill of the artists and the durability of their techniques. The painters used tools made from bone stones and even their own hands to apply the pigments, varying the thickness of strokes and layering colors to create depth and texture. These details suggest that the Altamira artists possess not only technical skill, but also in aesthetic vision, a desire to create images that would resonate and endure. The purpose of these paintings, however, is an enigma that has inspired numerous theories over the years. Some researchers believe the paintings were created as part of a ritualistic practice, a way to honor the animals that provided food, clothing, and tools for the people who lived in the area. In this view, the paintings may have been part of a hunting ritual, a symbolic act intended to bring good fortune and ensure a successful hunt. Others suggest that the cave served as a sacred space, a place where early humans could connect with spiritual forces or express beliefs about the natural world. The presence of animals like bison and deer, central to the survival of Paleolithic communities, hints at a deep respect for these creatures, perhaps seeing them as sacred or as intermediaries between the human and spiritual realms. Another theory posits that the altar mirror paintings may have served an educational purpose, a way to teach younger generations about the animals they depended on and the techniques needed to hunt them. The images in this view could have been part of an early form of storytelling or knowledge sharing, passing down wisdom, anatomy, and survival strategies. Yet the artistic quality and attention to detail suggest that the paintings were more than mere illustrations. They were expressions of something deeply meaningful, something that went beyond practical needs and entered the realm of art and culture. The discovery of the Altamira caves itself was a story of wonder and skepticism. In 1879, a local amateur archaeologist, Marcelino Estesatula, stumbled upon the cave with his young daughter Maria. As they explored the dark chambers, Maria looked up and saw the painted bison on the ceiling, their figures outlined in earthy reds and blacks. San de Saula was astonished and realized that these were not ordinary markings, but works of art from a distant past. He published his findings, claiming the paintings were of prehistoric origin, but the scholarly community dismissed them as a hoax, doubting that early humans could have created such sophisticated images. It wasn't until decades later that experts finally recognized the authenticity of the paintings, acknowledging Altamira as one of the world's great archaeological treasures. For modern viewers, the paintings of Altamira evoke a powerful sense of connection to our distant ancestors standing in the cave. One can almost feel the presence of those ancient artists, sense their hands pressing pigments onto the rock, capturing images that spoke to them of life, survival, and mystery. The animals they painted were more than sources of food. They were part of a world filled with meaning, a world in which every creature, every color, every stroke held significance. Altamira allowed us to glimpse this world, yet it keeps many of its secrets, leaving us to wonder about the minds and lives of those who created it. The caves also raise questions about the origins of human creativity. The artists of Altamira were part of a hunter-gatherer society, yet their art suggests a complex, symbolic understanding of the world around them. Did they paint for pleasure, for reverence, for teaching? Was this early art a way to understand life, or was it an instinctive need to create a drive that has been with humanity since our earliest days in Altamira? we see the first stirrings of this creative impulse preserved in red and black across stone surfaces that have weathered time over the years. Access to the caves has been restricted to preserve the paintings which are vulnerable to environmental changes and human presence. Visitors today may see replicas of the artwork in a nearby museum, carefully recreated to capture the spirit of the original. Yet even the replica carries the sense of wonder that Altamira inspires a reminder of the shared human desire to create, express, and remember. The painted caves of Altamira are more than a window into the past. They are a testament to the power of art to transcend time. They challenge us to look beyond mere survival and see the roots of human culture, the first signs of a world where beauty, meaning, and creativity take form. The mystery of their purpose may never be fully solved, but perhaps that is part of their allure. They remain a gift from the ancient world, a message left in stone that invites us to wonder, to imagine, and to remember that the urge to create is as old as humanity itself. The mystery of the Lapis Exillis, shrouded in centuries-old tales of alchemy, legend, and spiritual power. The Lapis Exillis is a mythical stone that has intrigued seekers and scholars since the Middle Ages, known as the Holy Grail of the Middle Ages. This elusive object has been described as a stone or jewel, or even a source of supernatural energy, with powers to heal, illuminate, and grant eternal life. Its origins are as mysterious as its reputed abilities, and its identity remains uncertain, wrapped in layers of medieval lore and symbolism. Could the Lapis Exillis truly be the Holy Grail? Or is it yet another relic from the distant past, misinterpreted by generations of storytellers and mystics? The Lapis Exillis is most famously mentioned in Peril, an epic poem by the 13th century German poet Wolfram von Ebach. In this tale, Wolfram describes the Lapis Exillis as a magical stone that possesses miraculous properties, capable of sustaining life and bestowing enlightenment upon those who seek it. With pure intent, according to the story, this stone is guarded by the Knights of the Grail, a mysterious order tasked with protecting it from the unworthy and ensuring it remains hidden from the world. This association with the Grail legends has fueled speculation that the Lapis Exillis might be the Holy Grail itself, its powers misinterpreted over time and transformed into the symbols of Christianity, knightly valor, and spiritual quests. The term Lapis Exillis itself is steeped in ambiguity. The scholars have debated its meaning and origins for centuries. Some interpret it as a corruption of the Latin Lapis Exillis, meaning stone from the heavens, which would suggest that the Lapis Exillis is a celestial or divine object. This interprets objects of power falling from the sky, whether as meteorites, holy relics, or signs from the heavens. To the medieval mind, a stone from the heavens could embody the divine, a physical manifestation of spiritual power granted to humanity. Other scholars argue that Lapis Exillis is a play on words, a cryptic name meant to veil its true nature, perhaps hinting that the stone is a symbol rather than an actual object. One theory suggests that the Lapis Exillis may represent the philosopher's stone, a legendary substance sought by alchemists for its supposed ability to transform base metals into gold and grant eternal life. Like the Grail, the philosopher's stone was seen as a symbol of spiritual attainment, an object that could only be discovered by those who had transcended the ordinary world. Some scholars propose that the legends of the Lapis Exillis and the philosopher's stone are intertwined, that both represent humanity's pursuit of wisdom enlightenment, and transcendence. According to this view, the Lapis Exillis is not a physical stone, but rather an ideal, a metaphor for the inner journey toward enlightenment. Yet the Lapis Exillis may also be a relic, a physical object with a story all its own. Some researchers have connected it to ancient stones and artifacts that were revered for their supposed magical properties, such as meteorites or unusual gemstones in some versions of the Grail legend. The Grail itself is described as a precious stone rather than a cup, further deepening the mystery and blurring the line between the two. Could the Lapis Exillis have been a real object, a jewel or stone that inspired wonder and reverence passed down through generations until it became wrapped in legend? The Lapis Exillis has also been linked to various Christian relics believed by some to be the stone embedded in the crown of Lucifer before his fall from heaven, or a fragment of the emerald that adorned the high priest's breastplate. In the Old Testament, according to these interpretations, the stone symbolizes the fallen angel's wisdom or divine knowledge brought to earth, a piece of heaven that descended to the mortal realm. For those who view the Lapis Exillis as the Holy Grail, this association suggests that it holds the power of redemption and salvation, a celestial object that can elevate the human spirit and restore a connection to the divine. Over the years, the search for the Lapis Exillis has captivated mystics, alchemists, and spiritual seekers, many of whom believe that finding the stone would grant them knowledge or enlightenment beyond the grasp of ordinary life in the Middle Ages. This search took the form of quests with knights and pilgrims journeying through Europe and the Holy Land, seeking holy relics and objects of power for the alchemists of the Renaissance. The Lapis Exillis became synonymous with the philosopher's stone, an object they believed could reveal the secrets of the universe and unlock the mysteries of life and death. Despite these interpretations, the true nature of the Lapis Exillis remains elusive. More a mystery than a historical fact, no object has ever been definitively identified as the Lapis Exillis, and no clear evidence has emerged to confirm its existence. Some argue that the stone is purely symbolic, a creation of medieval imagination meant to inspire spiritual longing and inner transformation. Others insist that it is real, waiting to be rediscovered by those who are worthy, hidden away in a forgotten corner of the world, or perhaps disguised in plain sight. For modern readers, the Lapis Exillis represents a timeless quest, a symbol of humanity's yearning for wisdom, power, and transcendence. It is a reminder of our tendency to seek meaning beyond the material world, to search for objects and experiences that connect us to the divine. In many ways, the Lapis Exillis is less about the stone itself and more about the journey. It inspires the desire to reach beyond the limits of our understanding, to grasp something eternal and profound. The Lapis Exillis, whether real or imagined, endures as a symbol of mystery, the holy object that challenges our assumptions and invites us to seek the unknown. Its name echoes through history, entwined with legends of knights and quests, alchemists and seekers, those who dared to believe that somewhere in a distant or hidden place lies a stone that holds the secrets of heaven and earth. Whether it was ever a physical object or merely a concept remains uncertain, but the mystery of the Lapis Exillis continues to invite us to wonder, to seek, and to believe in the possibility of the miraculous hidden within our world. The curse of the Hope Diamond, among the treasures held at the Smithsonian Institution, one stands out not just for its beauty, but for the dark legends surrounding it. This is the Hope Diamond, a mesmerizing blue gemstone that has fascinated the world for centuries, with its deep, almost otherworldly hue, weighing over 45 carats and measuring nearly an inch across. The Hope Diamond is an exquisite, but behind its allure lies a sinister reputation. The gem is said to be cursed, its beauty tainted by a history of misfortune, tragedy, and even death from royalty to adventurers. Those who have come into possession of the Hope Diamond are rumored to have met with terrible fates, creating a legend that still haunts this stone. To this day, the origins of the Hope Diamond are as shadowy as the curse that surrounds it. Most historians trace it back to 17th century India, where it is believed to have been part of a much larger stone known as the Tavor Blue, named after the French merchant Jean-Baptiste Tavor. According to legend, the diamond was taken from the eye of a statue of a Hindu goddess, an act of sacrilege that marked it with an otherworldly curse. Whether true or merely law, this tale became the foundation of the diamond's infamous reputation. After Tavernier brought the gem to France, he sold it to King Louis XIV, where it was cut into a heart-shaped gem and became part of the French crown jewels. But the diamond's curse had only just begun to unfold. Following its arrival in France, the stone's misfortune allegedly touched those who wore it. King Louis CTH and his Queen Marie Antoinette were among its most famous wearers, and both met their deaths at the guillotine during the French Revolution. Some claimed that the diamond's malevolent influence extended beyond its own owner to anyone in its orbit, casting a shadow over the French royal court. Following the revolution, the diamond was stolen during a looting of the crown jewels, vanishing for decades, and only adding to its mystique when the diamond resurfaced years later. It appeared in the possession of London banker Henry Philip Hope, for whom the gem is now named. Yet Hope's connection to the stone only seemed to continue its path of ruin, although Hope himself was not directly affected. Financial misfortunes struck his family following his death, with the once prosperous Hope family descending into debt and turmoil. Over the years, the diamond changed hands multiple times, each new owner rumored to have suffered misfortune, financial ruin, death, or bizarre accidents. The stone's reputation grew darker with each new twist in its journey, and its supposed curse became the subject of public fascination. One of the most infamous owners of the Hope Diamond was American Hayes, Evelyn Walsh, M.L. Ann, who acquired the gem in the early 20th century. Maylan was captivated by the diamond's legend, reportedly believing that her ownership would break the curse, but her time with the gem was marked by profound personal tragedy. McLean's son was killed in a car accident. Her daughter died of an overdose, and her husband was committed to an asylum after suffering a breakdown. Although no direct link exists between these TR tragedies and the diamond, the eerie pattern of misfortune only fueled the stone's dark reputation, and M. Land came to believe that the gem was indeed cursed. Eventually, the diamond was sold to pay off McLean's debts, passing into the hands of New York jeweler Harry Winston. Unlike many of its previous owners, Winston did not experience personal tragedy from the diamond, although he did come to view it as a dangerous and unsettling relic. Perhaps seeking to avoid the diamond's alleged curse, he decided to donate it to the Smithsonian Institution in 1958, where it has remained ever since Winston sent the diamond to the Smithsonian through the ordinary mail, wrapped in brown paper and delivered in a plain box. An unceremonious end to a long and dramatic journey. In the Smithsonian, the Hope Diamond found a home where it could be viewed by the public, and perhaps the curse was finally laid to rest. Yet, even in the Smithsonian, the Hope Diamond's legend lives on. Tourists come from around the world to gaze upon its deep blue glow, captivated by both its beauty and its dark history. Although the curse has largely faded into legend, some still believe that the diamond carries an aura of misfortune. Stories persist of minor mishaps among those who handled the gem. Minor accidents, lost items, sudden illnesses, all adding subtle fuel to the idea that the Hope Diamond's curse is not entirely dormant. Scientists and historians, of course, dismiss the curse as pure superstition, pointing out that the supposed tragedies associated with the diamond often have natural explanations. They argue that the curse was likely invented as a way to enhance the diamond's mystique and market value. Tales of curses, after all, have long accompanied precious jewels, particularly those with unusual features or origins in foreign lands. The Hope Diamond's deep blue color, caused by traces of boron within its crystal structure, is rare in diamonds and likely contributed to the aura of mystery that surrounds it. Yet for those who believe in the curse, scientific explanations are little comfort. The pattern of misfortune seems too persistent to dismiss as coincidence. Whether cursed or not, the Hope Diamond remains one of the world's most famous and valuable gems that carries with it centuries of intrigue, tragedy, and wonder. For some, it is simply a beautiful gemstone, a masterpiece of nature and geology. For others, it is an object of fascination, holding within it the echoes of lives touched by misfortune, a reminder of the power that legends and superstition can hold over us. The Hope Diamond's allure lies not only in its deep blue glow, but also in its legacy as a symbol of human fascination with the unknown, with the forces beyond our understanding that might touch our lives in strange and unexplainable ways. Today, enfaced in glass and lit to highlight its haunting beauty, the Hope Diamond rests as both a marvel of nature and a legend in its own right. Whether it truly bears a curse or simply a tale woven from misfortune, the gem continues to captivate those who see it, a darkly glittering reminder of the mysterious powers we sometimes believe dwell within the most beautiful of things. The mystery of the Lycurgus cup in the British Museum, an unassuming yet remarkable artifact, rests in a display case, quietly defying our understanding of ancient technology known as the Lycurgus cup. This 4th century Roman glass chalice captivates with a unique and mysterious property. It changes color depending on the angle of light. In normal lighting, the cup appears a soft jade green, but when illuminated from behind, it transforms into a vibrant, almost blood-red hue. This optical marvel, discovered to be the result of nanoscale particles embedded within the glass, has puzzled scientists and historians alike. How did the Romans achieve such an effect centuries before the concept of nanopea particles was even known? The Lycurgus cup, named after its depiction of the myth of King Lycurgus, a figure from Greek mythology, is a rare example of a cage cup, a type of Roman glassy where a relief design is carefully carved to leave parts of the glass surface open. The cup depicts Lycurgus entangled in grapevines, a punishment meted out by Dionysus, the god of wine, after the king opposed his worship. The scene is intricate with delicate vines, figures, and expressions etched into the glass, showcasing the remarkable craftsmanship of ancient artisans. Yet, as beautiful as the carving is, it is the color-changing properties of the cup that have set it apart as a technological marvel sparking intense curiosity about the knowledge held by Roman glass makers. It wasn't until the 20th century that scientists began to understand the Lycurgus cup's unusual color-changing effect upon close analysis. Researchers discovered that the glass contained tiny particles of gold and silver embedded within the material, at a ratio and scale so precise that it influences the way light passes through the glass. These nanoparticles are just a few nanometers across, far smaller than anything that would have been visible to the human eye. When light interacts with these particles, it causes electrons within the metal atoms to oscillate in a specific way, a phenomenon known as surface plasmon resonance.